Wait, this is live?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MuseCast, episode 59. You have myself, Dick Burke. You have Ash Von Chamier, and our special guest today, Mr. Michael Nix and Mr. Nick Ruff from the band This Dying Breed. Hey, guys.
Boom.
What's
What's up, fellas? So you guys are the first guest of the year. I mean, the new year has started.
Honored.
We are in 2025ve.
Yes, we are honored. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I just wanted to make sure you felt honored.
Oh, we do.
100%. I mean, we didn't receive like medals yet,
Yeah,
but
we didn't
we're
get any
working
trophies or
we're working there.
anything.
Good. The medals are in the mail, I promise.
I was about to
Actually,
say, we were hoping to
they're
get them
back
in the mail, but you
They're
know
back
how
ordered.
shipping is
They're
during
in
the
one of them
holidays.
containers.
Hey.
In the Gulf.
We'll be looking for those.
Somebody's knocking on your
Sorry,
door,
guys.
Dick.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to talk to
Keep
you
the
guys about
conversation
something. Have you guys heard about the holiday scam?
No, what's going on?
Like I heard about this after I received a random package. All right. I opened it up and I actually still have it next to me. It's a XXX large t-shirt that says something like Big Daddy Dog, DAWG.
What?
And I'm like, nobody would send me this. Like it's a parachute of a shirt.
Oh my God.
There's no, and then I heard from my mom, she like put me on like the tip of what's going on. Like, so apparently there's a bunch of people that receive gifts. I guess this has been happening for a few years. I hadn't heard about it, but it's getting worse. It's called brushing. Speaking of the devil, this guy sent it to me.
Hey,
It's called
Ash.
brushing.
Yeah.
Dick ain't coming back. Listen here.
Oh God.
Now,
It's just happened.
I taught you two boys how to play the guitar all them years back in that rock cave. Now you cut out my speaking role in your little TV show. So I want to tell you, I've been training these two boys here, Michael and Nick. And these two talk to me, and you and Dick, you and your little buddy Dick, y'all don't talk to me no more.
All right. This is the
What?
fingerer from Q the Muses, guys.
Yeah, we know we met him. Yeah, sorry about that, Ash, man. We kind of slid in some sessions with the fingerer, dude.
Wow,
It's
I feel a little betrayed.
It's
Dude,
okay. It's okay,
it
Ash.
was-
You
Look,
ain't got to be
Take it with you,
upset.
right?
We still friends.
Yeah.
Wait, you and me are friends still? I was friends with Dick.
No, not anymore. You ain't.
You've replaced Dick completely.
Dick ain't gonna come back to this show. I'm telling you. Right now,
I didn't have I've got a
couple-
whole show with the finger, ladies and gentlemen. We
I
should
got a
change
couple-
your name.
I got a couple things I was trying to tell you here
Okay.
recently.
What are they?
Hold on a minute. I got to do
Slowing
something
down.
there.
Well, I was in the middle of a story, the fingerer. Can I finish my story?
Yeah, you go right on ahead.
All right. So there's a scam. Did you hear any of what I was talking about, Finger, while you were
Yeah.
off styling your hair?
I ain't hear it. Go ahead, start over.
Random packages coming to people on the holidays. I got one. It's a big XXX t-shirt. I got it right here. And it says like Big Daddy Dog on it.
Triple
Was
X.
there
How
like
big
a
a boy are
return
you?
address or something?
What's up?
Was there like a return address or something? Like you could find out where this was coming from?
It's from Amazon.com.
Oh, okay.
That's like literally the address, right? And
Dude,
so,
we're in
look at this shirt.
Can I
Can I pet that dog?
Oh, can I
Can I
pet
pet that dog?
Can I
Dude.
pet that dog?
Look how huge it is.
Can I
Dude.
pet that dog?
So it's a scam.
Part
And the
of me
scam
wishes-
is that you try to return this and you do the QR code with your phone on there, and then you go to a malicious site and they take all your personal information while you're,
What?
So did you do that?
Yeah.
Nah.
No, I didn't.
No,
I
hell no.
wasn't. I did
So
not
you
do
just
that.
scored a badass shirt.
I just got an awesome free shirt, and
Win, brother.
Right- right before the podcast started, I got another one. I got another free package from some people,
Serious?
No.
and it's soaps. Look, it's for solid shampoo, biotine for colored hair. I don't color my hair yet, but now maybe I will.
Well, your hair is a color. You know,
Smells good. It is a color.
It'll work.
I got 2 of these fucking things.
And you color your hair.
I like it.
You like my hair? You
You
like his hair?
How come I don't get no free shit in the mail? See, that's why I'm here. Dick ain't got enough hair for this
that I
conversation.
didn't get any like free shit. In the
Yeah,
mail,
man, I
for
ain't getting no
sure.
damn.
I got free gifts.
Can I put that
I'm
down?
starting to think
I'm
that
also offended that I'm not like 250 pounds and can fit that shirt that you got because I totally borrowed it.
dude, I'll split it with you.
For you, Ash.
It's big enough we can both wear that thing, man.
You
Yes,
and
that's
Dick,
what
you
we'll
and
do,
Dick can
yeah.
both fit in that shirt there.
That's right. We
You,
could.
you, Dick, and 2 of these boys down there. By the way,
All 4.
Michael and Nick in that band, This Dying Breed's got the best hair out of all the bands in Tallahassee.
Dude,
I see why the finger are wrong.
I just cut my hair,
These
man.
are
So
facts.
it's like I feel like
You
I
cut your hair?
How much
Hair
you
goes
cut off?
back.
I can't tell.
Well, my hair was like down to here, dude, and I just chopped it off, and I was like, I feel like I
Whoa.
lost a little bit of my like guitar
Identity.
out of it or something, man. It's weird. Well, it's
Yeah.
like
Do you not
You
play
know.
as good anymore?
that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on that either way. You know?
That's like that guy
It's
Sam.
it's
My
not
hair's
the same.
long as hell. I
It's not
still
the same.
can't play. I don't know what my problem is.
I've been trying to tell these boys, actually, it ain't about how long the hair is, about how long, well, you know.
Yeah.
How long your
Hell
balls
yeah,
are.
brother.
Yeah.
Fucking right on, brother.
I'm not tracking, actually.
Longer the balls, better the life. That's what I say.
Sure.
Dip them in. I told you I don't play for money.
Hell no.
What? I think the finger came because this is a hair competition. We all have long hair, even though you cut some of yours. You still got
Honestly,
long
yeah,
hair, man.
I think maybe Dick felt a little out of place.
I think so.
No, I'm
Dick
well.
hit the road.
Dick hit the
Yeah.
road, man.
That's what it was.
Dick was felt a little inadequate with a lack of hair in this conversation.
But I got to say, Finger, your hair, magnificent.
Oh, that shit's
Remember,
pretty much
I had back when I trained you and Dick, I had blonde hair. You see how long it's been? Since
Yeah,
then?
you got a perm since then or something. This is amazing.
Well,
You
after I
really
saw-
outdid yourself.
After I seen y'all boys' final music video, that drummer what y'all had playing with you, that boy had some hair on him, silverback. Tim.
And he knows how to sling it.
So
Oh, yeah.
I went to his same stylist and got it cut. It's Timbo haircut there.
I might gotta go get this guy on me, man. Like, where is this? Is this local? Did you go out of town for this haircut?
You can't afford him.
That's a dig. That's fucked up.
Jeez, Finger.
Not
You
with
really
that,
know how to make me feel low.
not with them Fighting Giants t-shirt you got on there, boy. I know you got
I
it
know.
from Dollar General,
Dang.
from the Goodwill.
Yeah, this was in the dump, actually. One of those free fucking random gifts.
It's the high
What's
dollar
up, dude?
$5
It's
Goodwill.
the high dollar bill. That's the one I go to. No shame.
All right.
So,
Hey,
hey, let's
Ash,
ask a question to our guests.
It's good. It's good to see you, Ash. I'm gonna dip up out of here. Let Dick come back inside. I just wanted to step in, and tell you, proud of everything you've done. But you're yesterday's news. These 2 boys down here I've been working with. What they're gonna do is they're gonna talk about that new album worth of music they've been working on. Because
That's what I want to find out about.
I know what it is, but I'm gonna step out. I'll bring Dick back in here, and these boys finna tell you what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Finger. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Damn, out like a bolt.
Dude, you
Okay,
can't-
well,
man.
Off like a prom dress.
yeah. So that was the Finger. I'm sure Dick will join us back in a little bit here, but you boys have been working on new music. You've been recording. My first question is, are you recording with Lee?
Yeah. We've been tracking with Lee, man.
Lee Dyess, Earth Sound Recording.
Yeah. Great guy, man.
Mhm.
Really, just I don't know how to explain it other than every time I walk in that studio, I learn something new. Man, he's very knowledgeable, just really good, easy guy to work with, and just
so easy to work with.
Yeah, man, just great guy all the way around. So
I love Lee. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I recorded my when we were in Kill Clouseau, we did our albums with him up to before we went to Applehead, New York. But our first album was with him, and our first EP was with him.
Right.
And I lived in his house for a week. Dick's back.
Hey, so
what up, dude?
that asshole just kicked me out of my own studio.
Pretty ridiculous. That guy
gave me a Mounds candy bar and a PBR already open and half drink.
I mean,
man, he stole your shoelaces, told you was ugly, and you couldn't read good.
And anyhow, I've never gotten to work with Lee. I've always heard good things about Lee Dyess.
I've
He's
recorded back when I was in Hybrid Mind. I recorded maybe 2 songs there, but I mean, he's cool as hell, and he is good. He made me sound good, so he's pretty good.
Super easy to work with.
The best.
Really good dude.
I mean, if he can make Nick sound good,
he's a fucking Jedi behind the engineer.
Right? You're not worthy.
So how many is it? You guys got a full album that you're doing with him? Is this like a next? What's the?
Yeah. We're planning a full length record, man. I think we're shooting for 12 tracks total. So far, we've got. I want to say we have 8 songs completely finished. We've got a few ideas that are kind of rough still that we're trying to hash through and trying to kind of finish shaping and get everything together. I had a song that we were working on just this past week. Me and him were kind of trying to trade off some solos and some leads and stuff on, man. We're pretty excited about it. We've been kind of crunch time on that, trying to finish that up, because that's like the first one in line that we're working on still in studio. So trying not to get too carried away, but trying to make it worthwhile for the record. So
yeah. This is interesting. So you guys are you're aiming for 12 songs. You have 8 songs written.
Right.
You're still finalizing the last few, and the first one that you're focused on finishing first in the studio is one that you're still working on now.
Yep.
Well, so it's kind of
interesting.
It's so we've found ourselves in like kind of an awkward position just because of everything, the way it's been going this past year. We had a lot of ups and downs in the band. Not with each other. Everybody's on great terms with each other in the band, but life.
You're laughing over there. I saw a laugh. You're laughing. He's got a big old Christmas grin on right now.
That's just Nick. That's just Nick's.
Okay, Nick.
I had to drop out for a little freaking while because life got a little crazy, and then
well, and I'm not even just talking about that either. Yeah. No, I'm not even just talking about that, but like our bass player Greg.
Oh yeah.
He's gone through a lot in the last several months. His mom was battling cancer.
Oh man.
And she's in remission now. She's doing great, but that took a lot of strain on his side of what he could contribute. He's trying to provide for his family, trying to deal with that and everything too. So it's like he was dealing with that. He actually lost his dad just a couple months ago. So he's been really, he's been going through a really hard time. Luckily, things are on the upside for him now. Things are starting to pick up. But I mean, it's just been like that for not like that for everybody, but everybody's had their own struggles.
Something.
It's been a really crazy hectic year. But
I get it, man.
Climb though, we're good.
Yeah. So
we're good.
Now that everything's getting squared away and everybody's getting back on the same page, things are looking better than ever, and we're super excited that everybody's able to kind of find that balance at this point. And we're really just to finally kind of everybody be on the same page, not only time wise, but like focus wise with the music. It's like there for a little while we were coming into the practice space and not all of us were on the same page, and it was a little awkward trying to work around things. And it's not like that anymore. Everybody's just like, that's you know, like everybody's on the same page as far as writing goes, and as far as what the goal that we're shooting for. Everybody's kind of got it in their sights at this point. So
you have a unified front now. Everybody's on the same team. And I know, so you guys have been a group for quite a while. And you've gone through a couple of lineup iterations, just because I know, and I'm on the inside, and once upon a time I was a member of the lineup as a temporary guy. But I remember your band name was Trigger Clutch originally, right? That was
that was way back when, man. Yeah, that was
sounds like some serious early 2000s shit.
Right, it was, yeah.
But I will say, you know, I've always been friends with you, Mike, since since you were in Trigger Clutch, and I knew Nick then too. But I'll say, watching you guys kind of grow and evolve through your lineup iterations, this current lineup that you guys have just has some, you know, it has that right click, that right magic in the group. Just seeing you guys on stage, watching the performance, the way your energy is together, not to get kind of weird with it, but like it's just there in a better way than it has been before.
Yeah, real fun.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest with you, man, like we went into the studio this last time, and for Lee, I mean, Lee's known me just as long as I've known you, almost, man. Like he's known me for a long time, and like we all got in there, and like right before we left that day,
this is gonna be
he was like, Mike, he's like, this group of guys you're working with right now, he's like, the music you're recording, he's like, man, this is the best thing that you guys have done. And for him to tell me that, man, that was like a huge
that's awesome.
That's what I'm looking forward to, is hearing the energy come out in the new recordings with this new dynamic that you guys have. Because this is I think so. Your whole lineup, I know you, and obviously you and Nick are here. You're the two guitar players. Greg Holiday, right?
Yeah,
your bass player. I really kind of never knew him until the last show that we played at the Core show a couple weeks back.
Right.
You guys and I kind of actually got to talk to Greg really for the first time a little bit and get a feel for him. Super awesome guy, like really.
Dude, he's like really a cool guy there, man. He really is just a really good, kind-hearted dude. He we get a little rowdy at the shows, you know. We like to pregame probably more than we should.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than, you know, being a little buzzed and talking maybe a little too much, he's got a good heart, man. He's a good dude.
No, great guy. And so who's the rest of your lineup right now? Just to let everybody, you know,
so
put it out
we've got Greg Holiday on bass, like you were saying, and we've got Will Dunaway is our drummer, and we actually met Greg through Will. Will came and tried out as a drummer, and like, are you okay, man?
Oh, we're good.
Okay,
we're good. I'm so good.
But
just so straighten this up.
So Will came out, and
that's cool as shit, dude.
Thanks, man.
That's fucking tits, Nick.
All right, I'm gonna try to give you like the short story rundown if I can.
Okay.
So, my girlfriend, her brother-in-law is a music producer, and he lives out in like the Chattahoochee area. And so I told him about like the last lineup kind of like falling apart. You know, we were talking about it and everything, and, you know, things. It's like everybody just kind of went their separate ways, but I was really still interested in carrying it on and trying to like continue writing music of that style and trying to keep going with it. And he's actually the one who put me in touch with Will, our drummer, because they're from the same area. And so he put me in touch with Will, and it's crazy. Actually, you, Dick, and
my neighbors, right?
Yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah. Well, y'all put me in touch with Dylan.
Me and yeah, it was Big Dave too, right?
Yeah, you and Dave. Yeah, y'all put me in touch with Dylan, and So Dylan and Will came out the same day to my house to kind of try out for whatever we were going to do. And that just kind of ended up unfolding. Like, so Will put me in touch with Greg after he joined the band. And then, yeah, Dylan was there. And we were just on the hunt for another guitar player. And then y'all put me in contact. Well, no, I take that back. I messaged him on
he
Facebook.
slid into my DMs, cuz. Straight the fuck up, dude. Randomly out of nowhere, I was like, I got a message.
I remember.
I was like, hey, what's up, man? He was like,
I remember the text I got. I think, Nick, it was from you.
mm-hmm.
I think you had, because you didn't know Mike, you didn't know these guys, and you said, hey, do you know these guys, Michael Nix, that he reached out to me to play, asked me if I wanted to play or something. I just remember telling you, yes, do that. Yes, they're great. Yeah. I was like, absolutely. I'd never even thought about it, but then the idea of you guys together in my mind was like an instant, yes, I'm playing matchmaker.
Yeah, dude. I either texted or called him because I figured you knew it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, and then when you said I was like,
dude, it was funny. Like,
because me and Dick have always got along.
Oh yeah, same, dude.
Yeah,
you're an easy dude to get along with. But I saw a Facebook profile of him with a bass, and I was like, hey man, like at this point in my mind, I was like so desperate to find another guitar player. I was like, dude, I know you're playing bass, but do you by chance play guitar? And he was just like, actually, I prefer to play guitar. And I was like, well, hell yeah, let's see if this will work.
I'm a guitar player. I just play bass for Core because they needed a bass player, and I can.
Yeah. Well, that's the connection with me and Nick, because I'm Core went through a couple lineup changes recently. They did a reunion show been a couple years ago, and the original bassist and the OG guitar player were no longer in the band, and Jason Cupp's a great friend of mine. So I replaced Travis, and Nick replaced what's his name? Jake. So Nick and I are the two newer members of the latest reiteration of Core, but Core is not an active, like a constantly active band. Core is like a one show every 1 or 2 years type of group. Which is perfect for me.
For sure.
But honestly, it's really cool that y'all are keeping the music alive, because like it's such a nostalgic thing. Well, for a guy my age, like, because I used to go to Floyd's music store when I was like 13, 14 years old, watching those dudes
and
like kill it on stage.
I fucking played in Stranger, so I mean, they were like our big brother band. You know what I mean? Like we fucking that shit was. They were everybody. I feel like everybody in Tallahassee who's around our age felt like Core was the big brother band.
For sure.
Like they were like a constant there, which is
they were nice as fuck to us, man. We for sure. We enjoyed them. They were fucking. That's why I was quick to jump on it when Bobby was like, "Man, we need a bass player. You used to play bass for Schrodinger." I was like, "Yeah." All right, fine, let's go. I had to buy a bass and a rig. I had to buy a whole rig, but it worked.
Yeah, but it worked out. It works out.
I had 8 guitars, no basses. I was like, we're not, I'll buy a bass.
Jason ain't here. We're not talking about Core this whole show. We're talking about this Dying Breed. So
Breed is writing a new album.
The vocalist for this Dying Breed, Dylan, we talked about it. So Ash, if you didn't know, my place in Tallahassee, when I was still living up there close to you guys, the neighbor across the street from me was a guy named Carol, who worked for a company that the company I worked for built student housing for, the management company, ACC. And Carol lived across the street. Carol has 2 sons, and one day I hear drums coming from over there at the house. And a young kid named Joseph is a drummer. He was like a learning drummer. Just I could tell he's just getting started doing.
I remember you talking about your.
Yeah, and I was so happy. I was like, this is great. The kids across the street are like playing music. I was like, yes, because that gives me hope for the world, right? And so I end up meeting the kid. He hears music from our place. That the young kids come over. Him and his brother Daniel was playing guitar. you know, and I kind of just kind of started not mentoring them, but giving them some encouragement when I could. I installed some pickups in Daniel's guitar for him. His brother asked me what kind of pickups he should get for his brother's guitar as a Christmas present. And I told him get Seymour Duncan, some cool metal ones. And I ended up installing them for him. And then their cousin is a kid named Dylan Rogers, who I think was playing guitar with him or something at the time. And that's how he ended up being friends with me. And he also knew Dave through something. And when I think Dave was the one that actually pushed Dylan to try out for This Dying Breed, and he did, and it works out great for you. He's got a great energy with you guys.
Yeah, man, it just worked. It just fit, man. It was
Dylan's
crazy.
fucking screams to me are just fucking.
Yeah,
God.
He's got the screams, he's got the highs, but I'll tell you what, I think the last 2 shows that I've seen him play with you guys, and I know I go to the karaoke jams up there every time I'm in town and I go out to karaoke, and he's always there. Last 2 shows you guys been doing, I've been hearing clean vocals from him start to come out more and more, and really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, man. It's wild. To be honest with you, so we put out the single off of this upcoming record called Initium Novum, and we put it out, and Will, our drummer, did the clean vocals on that track. And I had heard him do vocals on a few things before, and I was like, okay, well, he can carry the cleans, that's cool. Well, the last time we were in the studio, it was like right before we went to the studio this last time, Dylan came to me and was like, hey man, like I really want to try doing some of these cleans. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get in the studio and let's let Lee hear it, and we'll kind of work around it. Let's see what we can come up with, Man, he got in the studio with us and like blew my mind. Like I did not know, like, cause he's got so much of a range when it comes to screaming. I wasn't sure how like his cleans were going to be because he's focused so much time on his screams. But man, I'm telling you, the first track on this record that is coming out, you're going to hear Dylan's clean singing, and you're going to shit your pants, man. I know I did. I was like, dude, I didn't know this was the same person. Like I was.
So why did he hold back? Why is that something you guys didn't know till then?
I don't think it was a reason to hold back. I think maybe just seeing how we developed the clean vocals in studio with the drummer doing vocals, I think maybe it kind of gave him a little encouragement, like, okay, maybe I can do this. And it kind of pushed him to kind of further even try to figure that out. And it was like a no-brainer, man. He stepped up to the mic and he nailed it. It's like, and now him and the drummer, it's like we got 2 clean vocalists that are kind of working with each other now, and it makes for a really cool mix, man. I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hell
Just gives you more options, more paint on the palette to work with.
And this dude does vocals too, man. Like, and I'm like, yeah, it's like he was in you did like a cover band for a while, right?
Yeah, I had a little classic rock and blues and southern rock cover band. So I can't do metal vocals though. That's what the thing is. I can do like CCR, fucking AC/DC, shit like that.
That's the cool stuff.
Allman Brothers, shit like that.
That's great.
Some clean, but I don't know where I'd fit it in on metal. But we'll try it. We'll try it.
I can't do it. Wow. I'm telling you right now, I have no vocal matter at all. This is it. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you asking me to do vocals, then there's something wrong. Like, no way. But it sounds like we got that more than covered. So.
Well, it's always worth encouraging, right? I feel like people who sing, anybody who sings well, has to go through a phase where they sing like crap. Right. I don't, maybe there's some freaks out there who just one day started singing perfect pitch, perfect, everything, great tone. But for the most part, I think you start out, fumbling it quite a bit until you figure it out. And that stage of anybody, starting is really important to be around people who are supportive.
Absolutely.
You know, because the worst thing would be somebody in a band who starts trying to sing, like Dylan, and you guys were very supportive of him making that step to go from the dirty vocals to clean vocals. And
Right.
if he started doing clean vocals and maybe didn't sound that great, you know, don't stifle it. You didn't stifle it. And you say, oh no, man, you don't, you know, just do what you do. You know, the other guy handled the cleans, but you like nurture it, keep him encouraged. And that's how people get better. And that's how great people become great, is by being surrounded by supportive people who, you know, help them get there. Because it's not easy, right? It's not easy to take that step to sing in front of people. It's different from like playing guitar in front of people, I think.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's the most vulnerable thing, I think.
Yeah.
You feel like you're standing there naked.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
It is not fun. If you're singing if you're the lead singer and you're playing guitar with some leads in it, yeah, it's not. It's you're scared to fucking death.
Yeah. Right.
All eyes and judgment are on you, because when you're in a metal band,
you're scared to fucking death.
People look at you like this.
Still to this day, man.
Anytime
you see me playing a guitar solo on stage, I'm scared as fuck, dude. Like, I might not always seem like it, but I am scared that I am gonna like just sabotage it at any moment.
Start a half step up and then overcorrect.
Oh man,
just shit the bed, and it's fine. It's fine. Keep going. Play through it. It's jazz.
I've had one show where we literally just
within the key and improvise. You're good.
I can't improvise. Like if it goes south, it's going all
linger
the way.
on it, catch your bearings, and fucking improvise. And then
the worst is if you can't hear yourself. If you can't hear yourself and you started somewhere off, and then you're trying to recover, and you're like, for whatever reason, you're a whole step off. Your just whole placement is out, and you just can't tell how to. It's terrifying. I mean, I had one experience like that back in the day with Kill Clouseau, and it was an out of town gig too, so the pressure was extra high. Probably why it happened. And for whatever reason, the whole first half of that song, we restarted 3 times live. It was so embarrassing.
No, you stopped.
And we were like, yeah, dude, we were still green, and it was so embarrassing. It was like, I mean, that one hurt. And then but we just couldn't hear ourselves, you know. I mean, you could not hear yourself independently. You know, all you were hearing was the bounce back from the wall.
Yeah.
Of your whatever's happening in front of house coming back at you.
Did you guys have a keyboard player at the time?
Yes.
This was okay. Yeah. That's what, because
no, we didn't.
It was just
a different drummer.
So you had you were 3-piece music vocal.
Yeah.
Well, you were green because you never stop. If you're off key, that's why Pantera is so great. That's why Dimebag could do whatever the fuck he wanted to, because it's just him and Rex up there. And if Dimebag's off key, it doesn't fucking matter. Keep playing.
Yeah, dude.
It still sounds great. You can't tell.
We were playing, I mean, not nearly, still felt very young as a musician, period. You know, like it was all new. We out of the gate, we're trying to go for shows.
Yeah. And it's horrifying for a while for being a young man, trying to start a band, trying to play in front of people and figure it out for a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
But if you do it consistently, I mean, that's kind of the question I wanted to ask you, you know, Mike, is like, does that go away if you do a few shows back to back all in the same month? Because for me, that alleviated so much if it was consistent playing.
What do you mean, like playing on my own?
Well, no, just in the band. Like, have you been in situations where you've gotten to play a couple of shows in a week and then do another week with a couple of shows, which is hard to do locally. It's only if you're getting it. But when I got to do about, let's say, 5 shows over the course of a couple of weeks, by the 5th show, I was like not nervous at all anymore.
You're asleep while they're playing, and it's perfect.
It's fun. It got fun again.
Yeah,
for sure. That's like the fun for me. Like, and don't get me wrong. Like, I love playing shows here in town, but at the same time, the bad part about playing here in town is like we try to squeeze in like maybe 3 or 4 practices before we get up on stage here in town. Whereas if we're doing like a little mini like 1 or 2-week tour or something like that, it's like it's so much more comfortable for me to do the tour because it's like I know it's like after the first 2 days, like everything else is just it's repetitive at that point, and you don't have to think about it so much. You could just get up there and have fun because you know exactly what to expect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's so much better.
It's muscle memory at that point. And everybody's just having a fun time instead of stressing over it.
I got another question for you. I want to know if you guys feel the same way that I feel about this. I always felt like it was so much easier to play shows where it was out of town or nobody knew us. And it was way harder to put on a great performance for a bunch of people that knew me.
Exactly. No, I agree. I agree completely.
You can't, because they're like, that's not, why is he acting like that? You know, like that's, you know, they know you on a normal basis when you're working behind a counter or something. And but to the mystique of the unknown, you're anything you want to be, and you could just hop into the music and be like the full rock star mode. And I don't know, that's the way I felt about it.
You gotta be bouncy and hyper all the time, and then when they see videos of you or come see you on stage and you're bouncy and hyper, they're like, "Oh, look, it's just Nick because he's fucking
yeah."
He's just hyper.
It's different.
Well, look at you. You're hyper, but with a guitar this time. That's cute.
Right. It's a little different for me. Like it's funny because like me and him went to there's a guy that's like a tree farmer. I do a lot of carpentry work, and so like I get all my lumber from this guy that is a local tree farmer here, and him and his wife are super nice people, you know. And I had Nick ride along with me not long ago because I had to go over there and pick up some heavy material. I needed him to help me load it, and so we go over there and him and this guy's wife are talking or whatever, and they're just like, and I'm right there like trying to help them load up this stuff or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, Mike's the nicest guy, blah 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 blah," and he was like, "You should see him on stage, like he's not even the same guy," like, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right, I am not the same person on stage at all."
He looks mean.
I was like, "No, it's like I am a completely different person on stage than I am anywhere else," you know, and that like it kind of. Like it just occurred to me when he said that. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not the same person at all. It's weird.
Yeah,
I am. Like, I just feel like I can cut loose and have fun up there and not have any judgment. Whereas like when I'm working or trying to be like a respectable adult, you know, it's like I feel like this responsibility over me everywhere I go, you know. So I understand that too.
I think when people like us are on stage, it allows us to kind of go turn it up to 10 in who we really are.
Right. Well, not that I'm disrespectful on stage or anything like that, but you know what I mean. Like
I've never
fuck you, fuck your mom,
dirty boy up there.
You know what I mean?
You are.
I've never picked up on the angry face Mike on stage. You always feel like you're having a good time to me. I don't know.
When I'm on stage, man, I'm living the best life I can, and I wish 90% more of the population could feel that at one point or another, because the world would be a better place because of it.
I think so.
It's interesting. I feel like this is an interesting, like, psychological thing to explore for one more beat. I mean, you also simultaneously are terrified when you're playing a solo. If you haven't played for a while, right? So it's like we're attracted to this thing that lets us be the fullest, you know, expression of who we are, right? Mm-hmm. In the fullest artistic form that we can in this live setting. Yeah. But simultaneously, it can also be, and this goes away the more that you play. And this is coming from a guy that hadn't played out for a long time, but I just remember going through all the motions of this. If we played consistently, the nerves went, but when we didn't, if months went by when we had to retrain a new drummer, for instance, and then we go back to that first couple of shows, very nervous. I got very, very nervous, and it's like terrifying, but it's also like crossing that threshold of feeling alive. Yeah. And then hopefully after that second song, you know, you get 2 songs in, as long as nothing's like going haywire, you're in.
You're back in.
And then that's what you wanted to be at. Like you're there. But it is interesting that we're like there. I guess it's a bit of there's adrenaline, There's a desire for like you feel alive because you have to be in the moment because you're between your nerves and your desire of fulfillment all happening at once. It's a really interesting dynamic, but it's not effortless.
There's endorphins. There's endorphins too, because there's that euphoric state that because it is a high when you're up there, and it's a high that people who do it chase it. That's why. That's why I'm 40 and I still do it, and why Maynard James Keenan just turned 61 and he's still playing in 3 bands and touring every year. It's just you don't once it's in you don't stop, and it's
kind of fucked up, man. It's just
and it makes life hard sometimes. But it makes life
really
better.
There's really nothing else like it, man. It's this crazy, for me anyway. It's like this. It's a walking a really thin line of full blown self expression and like releasing that from yourself, like in a public state where you can hopefully make somebody else feel whatever it is that you were feeling while you were writing or portraying that music. But then it's the thin line of not only all of that like self-expression, but this terrifying feeling that what if I convey it in the wrong way, or if I fuck it up in the middle of trying to display this for somebody, so that instead of feeling what I'm feeling, they're getting this fucked up,
confused.
I made a mistake of how I was trying to portray this for you, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
You just don't tell them that part.
I don't know how else to
leave that part
explain
out.
that, but I mean,
I mean,
that's
I identify with that.
But it's I'm feeling the best I've ever felt in my life, trying to like express my art, but at the same time, if I fuck up, I'm gonna feel worse about it than what I'm saying? It's like I just picked a puppy or something. You know what I mean? It's like it's a really weird kind of double-edged sword in a way.
Yeah, and well, the other side of it, the other side is 99% of the time when you're up there and you fuck up, like, oh, I screwed this up. The people watching,
no idea,
absolutely no clue. They're drinking, they're having fun, they love the music, they're watching it. Now, from a perspective of yourself, every part of the song front and back, everything, and you screwed it up. And maybe if they're in the crowd, and this is kind of like at the like a local scene level, right? Maybe in the crowd there's 2 or 3 people out there who know it front and back, who might know. 2 or 3 people out of 300 people might catch it. And it's like, you can't beat yourself up too bad, but you will, because in your head, it was catastrophic. But in the bigger scheme of things, like it's so inconsequential, and like that's what I had to do, is kind of like my mind just shuts it off. If I fuck up, great, I get an opportunity to do something stupid or make a silly face about it and acknowledge and keep going and just have fun.
When you say that you're your worst critic, I mean, that is like some of the truest statement I've ever heard in my life. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody's going to look at you as hard, as you are yourself. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. It's like I'm harder on myself than probably anybody else, but I have to be, because how else are you going to try to push yourself to be better? You know what I mean? Does that make sense too? You know what I mean? It's like you're hard on yourself for a reason, but you got to have some leeway there too.
It comes with being driven. It comes with being driven. You want to do great things. You want to be the best that you can, and you don't want to accept failure of any type like that, which it's not a failure, but it's, it's just part of it. And it's going, things are going to get derailed, and you handle it appropriately in your mind. You beat yourself up a little bit, you get back up and keep going. And that's improvement.
Absolutely. 100%.
Unless you're Nick, because Nick, if Nick fucks up, look at him. Nobody's going to be upset with that guy.
I throw my hair over the strings in my hands and stuff, and they didn't see that I fucked up whatever I was playing. and then I catch it real quick, and then I flip my hair back out, and everything's fine.
It's reset button.
If you just go chromatic, if you get comfortable a little bit with chromatic scales, you just like make it feel intentional.
What's a chromatic?
Yeah. You just keep.
Chromatic is every note. Chromatic's just literally every note. So you
walk it up, walk it down. Eventually, you'll remember what you're supposed to be playing, and
it's a discorded part. And then when it comes full circle and lands on the right chord in the right key, it was like, oh, all that tension, and then release.
Yeah, you just land on the root. Whatever you do, land on the fucking root. You just back home. You're good.
Yeah. You just explained all of my playing in one bit. I know what I do now.
Mine too.
Just go chromatic, man. It's like in jazz and stuff too. I mean, it's like they say, if you hit a sour note, do it again. That's what you're supposed to do. Do it again. Then it feels intentional.
There's jazz notes in that solo that me and Mike made the other day. Don't worry. Also, man, if you land on a sour note, go up a half step or bend it up a half step.
Bend it till it ain't sour no more. That's right.
Totally. Again,
that's not a free tip though. It's not a free tip. We're gonna need some way for people to pay for that through your
set up the tip jars.
So they can pay.
Guys, you can
pay me for that tip.
You can.
If you go to a wrong note, go to the next note. That'll cost you $5.
What's that thing the YouTubers are always clamoring on about? The Patreon. You can donate to Nick from Patreon.
Dick and Ash's Patreon.
Yeah, you guys can pay us for Nick's tip on that.
The day you catch me genuinely trying to ask people on YouTube to donate to my fucking Patreon, kick me in the nuts. Just kick me in the nuts, guys out there.
We might
if you like what we do, great. I'm never going to ask anybody for money. All we want is your attention, your time.
Nutpunch.com.
I wanted to, I know we left the conversation of Lee in the dust way back at the beginning, but there was something really interesting he posted. I don't know if you guys saw it.
No.
He posted his tally up of how many plays, songs that he, I guess, recorded have generated over the last... I'm assuming this is for the year. Like this is a year wrap up, or is this all time? Let's see. Did you guys see this post?
I haven't seen it. No.
It's from this thing called Muso.ai. I don't know. It's this program he used, which I'm curious to find out more about this. So look, dude, streams. Lee Dyess, a part of these streams. So I'm assuming recording engineer, right?
Right.
896 million plays.
God,
for all the bands that he's produced and the streams that they've got.
Yeah. Did he do Mayday Parade?
Yeah, he did. That's how I discovered him. They had just recorded their EP, and I was like, "That sounds good. That's the best local recording I have heard. Let's go to that guy. Let's find out who that guy is." And we went to him and recorded an EP with him right away. Even though it wasn't like the kind of music we were playing, it was like, doesn't matter. That sounds totally pro.
No, he was that was like one of the things that really kind of like drew me in as far as anywhere in the area that was recording decent music at the time. My buddy Josh Sapp was in a band that had recorded with him, and he was like, dude, if you're into like rock or hardcore music, like you gotta go to this guy. Like he's the guy. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I called him up on the phone and I was like, hey man, just wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit before we, decide to come up there and record with you, like this is the kind of music we play and like, this is what's going on. Like, this is what we're trying to do. Can you work with that? And he was like, yeah. Me and him sat on the phone for probably like an hour, just talking like guitar sounds and like what we were trying to expect out of this record. And anyway, we got up there to the studio and recorded with him. Everything worked out just smooth. And he was like, man, you're the only person like I've ever talked to on the phone about guitar amps. And you actually went out and got the amp I suggested for you and brought it with you to the studio. He's like, that's awesome. And I was like,
dude,
is that your Mark? Is that your Mark IV?
That was the Mark IV. Yeah, that was when I got the Mark IV, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting, dude. You know what I did?
What's that?
So when I went to record with him, I had just been using. I just had digital effects. I think at that time, the first time I recorded with him, I had the original pod kidney-shaped effects thing, right?
Like the red one.
Yeah, that little red kidney-shaped beam.
I know exactly what you're talking about,
dude. That's what I had, and I had solid-state amp. So I was like, dude, whatever you want to do with my guitar tone, take me there, because I don't have, like, I know I'm using digital stuff. Whatever you want to plug me through, I'm down. Yeah, I'm just totally going to follow your lead. So I gave him full creative license on that. What's that?
I said that leaves him a lot of open room to work with too.
Yes.
So that's awesome, man.
I did the same thing when we went back to record our full album, and it went great. I mean, he has tons of amps, and he has, he had all kinds of things that I didn't have, man. I was still doing digital. I think at that point I had moved up to a Boss GT8 multi-effects pedal. So again, a single all-in-one unit. Then I went analog, and now I'm back in digital land. I got an Axe Effects, one of those FM9 foot pedals. Yeah. But it's gotten so much better. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to say it's like, it's not, I know the ultimate absolute tone comes out of the, like a real head with tubes, but to have this many options, I just like, because I write progressive stuff, I want more tones than I can get out of one amp. There's just too many different. He's building up the amp set. And I'm over in digital make-believe amp world again.
Dude, bought a piece of shit EVH the other day. My name's Dick.
Yeah.
I got way too much money.
That's the tower of shame. No. Lately, the digital stuff is insanely good.
It's gotten so close.
As soon as they started doing whatever it is, the speaker impulse response. It started with speaker emulation began about 15 years ago, and it was junk. All the direct record stuff was junk. The pod had, because my first amp was a Flex Tone 2, Line 6 Flex Tone 2, which was the kidney pod in a 200 watt solid state head. Bobby from Core had the same head. He still has his and uses it as a power supply run for his digital. He has a digital foot pedal now.
That's a good one. He's got a good one.
But Line 6 started on that Flex Tone. They had cab simulator. It had 412, 210, 212 different simulations, and it all kind of still sounded like shit. And I always ran it off when I played live and just ran the distortion through my actual cabinet, right? But as soon as they started doing the speaker impulse response stuff, like, I don't know that much about it, but I know that it works. I have a plug-in. I have like an amplitude that has 50 different heads in it. Also has like 50 different cabinet simulators. It's just a recording plug-in, and it all sounds so cool and interesting to go through the different cabinets and to hear that response. So there's nothing wrong with that nowadays. I mean, 15 years ago was the stigma, like, oh, you're using the solid state
shit. Know, dude. Even Metallica is using the Axe Effects, because the reason that they use it is because you can combine amps. So to do that live in the different settings, to get that blend to happen in all the different environments of temperature and travel and space, like, it's never consistent. So it was a nightmare, and they developed their double amp technique of recording, and they wanted to bring that on the road and tried to for years. And then this came out. Axe Effects has gotten so good that they now use those so they can do their double amp stuff. So they still record with the real amps, but on live, apparently they're using Axe Effects.
If you're touring, I mean, let's face it. If you're touring, do you want to lug around, six cabinets and all these heads, and it's so expensive? Or do you want to bring a box and a little handbag and just
that's consistent
handbag up there and do it?
It's consistently the same sound every time because it's direct, versus the fluctuation that happens with tubes, let alone combining 2 or 3 heads to create a certain tone in a live setting. Like, that blend is going to be different every time versus the Axe Effect solution.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say, like in a live setting, it is completely different than like if you're tracking, and blending tones, because obviously,
Totally.
like, there's a lot more you can do when in a recording session. You know what I mean? Like on the record we're working on right now, I love my guitar tone more than any other tone I've had on any other recording. And it is a blend of the Mesa Boogie Mark IV that I have and my Crank Rev series. That Crank Rev series just packs a punch in the mid and low end range, where that Mesa is like sheer highs and mids. So it's like you get this big, round, like bulky sound that I could have never gotten any other way. Nice. Especially I'm still trying to figure out how eventually maybe one day I could get that tone live, but for that sound on the record, it is spot on.
Now what?
That's awesome.
Now two things. One, I'm super glad to hear that you still have that Crank Rev, because I've played your Crank Rev and it's a great amp.
I'm not saying that right now. He pawned that. It's gone.
You're right.
It's not sitting right here.
Where's it at?
He pawned the shit out of it.
It's right here.
No, it's not. That's not it.
It's a liar.
Liar. Second question. When you're tracking, what speaker combination or cabinet are you using?
I'm usually running through vintage 30s. Lee's got a set of vintage 30s and like a 212 cab there at the studio. And I like the way vintage 30s sound. I love them. They're great. They really carry the higher end. And I do have to say, though, one thing that I regret is I used to have the Crank cab, and it had the Eminence Texas Heats in it.
Yep.
And I've never heard a better matched speaker for that head. Obviously, they're a paired head and cab unit.
Yeah.
But I love those speakers for that head, and I really wish I could find another cabinet. That was like one of my biggest regrets, is getting rid of the cabinet that had those Eminence in it.
Now, fun fact: you and I had this same conversation 10 years ago.
I believe
the cabinet that I have in Tallahassee at the rehearsal space up there, the one that I play with Core, I bought a set of Texas Heats after you and I had the discussion, and I X-patterned them in my Marshall cab with the vintage 30s. Now and I play that cab in Tallahassee when I play with Core, and David played it on his set with Over It. He played through. Now that combination is amazing. It's so good. It's dark, it's gritty. The vintage 30 gives it a little bit of high bite in there, and it's just thick, man. I
want to do that so bad. I want to get like a good quality cabinet and blend those speakers in it. That's what I want to do so bad, man. I didn't realize that you had already done that, but that is so cool.
That one with the red face on it.
Dude.
Yeah, because and when I pull it up on stage, I have the cabinet, because I use it in the studio too. I have my mic placements drawn on the fabric, and I have the speakers labeled. I wrote, V30 Texas Heat, and it's X-pattern on there. Shaggy always goes for the Texas Heat. He never mics up the V30. He can see right there what it is. He always throws it up on the Texas Heat.
That's wild.
But now I will say this, because I wanted to do this a long time ago, until I just ended up, I own 3 412 cabinets that are spread across the state of Florida, and a 212 cab I got. But earlier you talked about you do a lot of woodwork.
Right.
You should. What I recommend you do, and I'd like to challenge you to do this, is just look up the specs just measure your Mesa cab and build it, but build it out of tone wood, and do some experiments with it.
Absolutely. Either like out of some mahogany or like some hardwood that's got some density to it. It's not just glued together particle board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would be a really good quality cabinet. That would be awesome. I want to. My main thing. So I've got experience with the whole carpentry side of thing. I suck at wiring. Like my wiring skills are just garbage.
There's really not that much wiring. The speakers the speakers and the input jack. You can order an input jack online, and I can see Nick's face over there. Nick looks like he could wire it up for you.
Oh, he probably could,
yeah, no, we'll wire that up.
Dude, do you run that cab, the one that you were telling me with it's got the vintage 30s and the Texas Heats? Do you run that at 8 ohms or 16s, or like what do you do?
I run everything at 16 when I'm 16. Running. I used to run different ohmages, and I kept mixing it up, and I ended up blowing a head. I had Kurt Rogers bought me a Line 6 Veda head off a guy for my birthday long time ago, and I used to run that as a dual setup with my first PV 6505, and I blew it because I kept screwing around, kept messing with the ohmages on the cabinets, and it ended up mix matched ohms from the head, and it backfed the power supply, didn't have the right resistance, and it blew the power amp out in the amplifier. So now I keep everything as simple as possible. All my amps stay on 16 ohms. I run a single cable. You run 8 ohms if you run a dual stereo into one cabinet. And when you have to do that, if you're going to run like a stereo effects loop setup where, your delay ping pongs from one cab to the other or one speaker to the other, it gets complicated. I'm not that smart. Like I just want simple. So
yeah,
I feel like
with you on that.
Yeah, I feel like 16 ohms works.
Yeah. So my Mesa, the Mark IV, it's got like an input for, it's got like 2 4 ohm inputs, and then it's got an 8 ohm input. Which is fine, that's perfectly cool. But then the crank, the one thing I really like about it is it actually has like a selector switch on the back of the head where you can select between 4, 8, and 16, and it'll do all 3. You just select whatever you're.
Okay. Well, the crank is a newer amp than the Mark IV. You're talking about the back of the Mark IV doesn't have a selectable ohm setting.
No, you've got 2 inputs. One's for like a 4 ohm and one's for an 8 ohm. And that amp also runs from it's one of those amps where you can run it at full power, or you could put it on tweed power.
Yeah.
And push it a little harder with less volume and still get that good tone out of it. You know what I mean? So it really just depends on what you're using it for.
Yep, it's a great feature to have, especially if you're in the studio when you want to push it. Yeah. You want to push it to the limit, right? And you can dial it down to 50 watts. You can get a smaller cabinet and run it. It is a little limiting not to have a 16 ohm selector on the back that it only has 4 and 8. But that just means you have to have a cab that's either wired with 8 ohm speakers or has a selector. And that dictates what, like if you build your own cabinet, that kind of dictates how you wire that up and what you intend to use with it.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about those rectifier amps, man, is like the louder you kind of crank them, especially in a live setting, you know what I mean? Like the louder you kind of push them, the better like rounded tone you get off the top end. You know what I mean? So
it's I know you're sounds like you're a Mesa guy. Your team
I
Mesa.
like Mesa. I like a lot of the products I've tried from Mesa, but at the same time, I don't like. It's like I like rectifiers the way they sound at full volume, but I would never. I don't record with them or like practice with them, if that makes sense, at a lower volume, because I can't get that tone I'm trying to get out of them unless you push them. So that's one thing I really like as far as the Mark IV being able to split the wattage and still push it at a lower wattage to get a good tone. And the crank is just mean, dude. I don't know what it is about that. There's so much play in just the scoop knob on that amp where you can really round your tone out with just that one single selector. That and the presence. It's like a balance between those 2 knobs can make a drastic difference in all the tone in that amplifier. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And Crank's not. I don't think Crank's even in business anymore.
They're not, man. They went out of business a while back, man. But
that's what makes it so special that you still have it. Then
Well, I made the mistake of selling one before. I had this same amp before and sold it. And then a guy that I went to church with at the time was like, "Hey man, my buddy's trying to sell this amp. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wish I still had my old one. Like, how much does he want for it?" And I got this amp for $350, dude. And there's no way you can buy one for that now. But it's just like every time I take this amp, every time I take this amp to the studio with Lee, he's just like, "You let me know the day you decide to sell this amp because I'm gonna from you." And he's like, every time I go there, he's just like, "When you gonna sell it?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna sell it, Lee. Like, I'm sorry, man. You just have to buy one off Reverb like everybody else."
I kick myself for not buying, 2 of them cranks back when they were $300. Back, like Ash, I don't know if you know about the company Crank, but it's KRANK. And
I've seen that.
Towards the end of Dimebag's life, he started playing Crank amplifiers. Crank endorsed Dimebag. He had a signature amp with them called the Crankenstein.
Yeah.
And it had like green lettering on it, had Dimebag's face on the back of it. And also Crank sponsored Metalocalypse, the cartoon on Adult Swim.
Brandon Small used their amps.
Nice. All of their backline in the show, it's Gibson guitars and it's all Crank amplifiers.
Crank amps. Nice.
Yeah, and
smart.
For whatever reason, I don't know, but when they were active making amplifiers, endorsing artists, like I remember they had Dimebag and they were all Metalocalypse, but they weren't really accepted. I feel like I just didn't see a lot of like actively playing bands using the Crank stuff. And the first time I got to play one was when Mike brought it over to my house. We were doing some tracking, messing around with pre-production or something, and I played through. I was like, this thing sounds fucking rad. Like, I wish I had this amp. That's great.
I think that happens with cameras and stuff too. It's like people get tied to brand, and they think that it needs to be something to hit a certain echelon of pristine, but it's like, meanwhile, there's like stuff that's coming under the radar that hits it's just got mojo,
Right.
And there's just something like, it doesn't even make sense spec wise why it does what it does, but there's some magic happening in this combo. And people that recognize it, latch onto it, and then that stuff. There's still cameras that are sought after years later after they've stopped being made that are like, whoa, like that was like, they never made another version of that. Why not? Like, that was like so good, and it has this certain the way it handles the highlights, even though it has less resolution, the color depth, and all that kind of stuff, without getting too into the weeds on it. But yeah, man, it's good to recognize. Like, that's why I've kind of like cared, even with my latest upgrade purchase on cameras. I went with I didn't get like the cinema camera version of what I got. I just got another one of the smaller cameras I got, because I have big cinema stuff, and I'm like, this is like just as good, except it's way better priced, and nobody's paying attention to it anymore. And it's like, I'm totally buying this. And then I made a video on that actually on my YouTube channel that I do for teaching about cameras and editing and stuff like that. Wow. And it's my most successful video I made in the past few months, probably this year for the pace. Like, it's got like 12 or 13,000 plays on it now, and I've got like a couple hundred comments on it. People all talking about like, this is great point, man. Like, you're right. Like, this is great. Your footage looks great. Like, you sold me. And I'm trying to get my affiliate link set up on Amazon, because I have the link to purchase Canon R5Cs there. And I'm like, man, if I could get some, 4% commissions on all these Canon R5C sales. I've had quite a few people say that they have picked up the camera just because of looking at my video and the footage that I'm showing in it to represent.
Wait, so Ash, are you like one of those guys where it's like you find a camera that you really like and you just kind of stick with it, or are you constantly like trying out like other stuff that other people are
do you cheat on your cameras?
Not cheat on.
I do. Yeah.
I
cheat all over the place.
He does when I film on him.
You double camera.
I try all kinds of brands, man. I've got Sony, Canon, and Red cameras. So I mean, I cover the gamut on, but I don't have the money or accessibility like people do in bigger cities where they have rental houses in town, and you could go try all that stuff out. For me, I get a camera and then I learn the hell out of it. You know, a lot of people rent and test stuff out. And it's like, I don't have the time or budget for that. I like getting really honed in on one camera, putting in the time and research ahead of time, figuring out what's good.
You have the Tom Morello philosophy on your cameras. You don't seek out the camera, the ideal camera. You take the camera you have and figure out your style.
Go see how far it'll go. But ahead of time, you can really start identifying, you know, what there's magic, man. I'm looking for that mojo even in lesser, you know, less expensive stuff. So, but anyway, gentlemen, we have crossed the threshold. We're at 1 hour and 10 minutes. It's getting late here. I can see Nick we all need to go to bed with Nick.
Dude, I'm in my pajamas, dude. Like, we're good.
I saw it. I loved how you left you gave the mirage of your room away. You walked back there with the door. I loved it. I was cackling away. I'm sorry, Mike. I wasn't laughing at your story. I was laughing at him in the background doing that, walking through your wall.
Trying to tell the story, trying to, he just kept going. And me and Ash were just laughing.
I got a positive note to close out the episode on as rock guys. Just now, I mean, I know rock is kind of a broad term, but just to have said it, in the world of streaming in 2024, the most popular streamed genre was rap and R&B. That's one category. But the second most popular genre was rock.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, really? Like, so we got 30% of streams in total for R&B and rap, and 17% was rock. So I mean, it's like almost double for rap. But everybody else is behind that. Rock is beating even country and pop. Yeah. I was like, what?
I heard that.
So it's you know, that's pretty good.
It's Return of the Rock, baby.
Yeah, man. So keep it up, guys. There's hope.
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, okay. And when are you
going to film another music video for us, man?
Well, let's talk about it. When are you guys trying to do one?
Oh, man. So I know we're like in the midst of this record right now, but like as soon as we find out what track, like, everybody in the band's like, man, there's no way we can beat the quality of that last video y'all put out unless we use the same guy. And I was just like,
use the same guy.
I was like, I want to do it so bad. Like, I want Ash to film another video for us.
You know, the hardest part for me has been that since then, you know, we were just about to start doing Cue the Muses. And so here's the deal. When I do commercial work, I get paid significantly more, and so I've got a lot of work booked out for the year. I do actually, I've got a slight little gap happening, but I think it's about to be filled because the production got pushed back. But what I was getting at is that basic. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is like, if the timing works out to fill a gap, that would be the way to do it. But what I had been doing is Cue the Muses for the last 3 years has really been the gap filler every time because we've still got one more episode to go. That's a massive one with 2 music videos nested inside of it. And when it's all recorded and everything, and I love the songs on it. And
damn it. I was like, let us do it. Let us be in that video.
Oh, well, to close out the episode, we have one more day of filming where we're going to get cameos from every band that's willing to show up for it.
Right on.
So we'll try to have there's like a closing scene to the whole miniseries of that album. That's a scripted scene that we want to try and get every cameo that anyone that's willing, that's a rock person in particular, musician is fine, but mainly rock, will show up. We want to get them in there. So we have all these cameos in at the end. But the music videos have already been filmed, the 95 or 96% of the story filmed. And I just, honestly, I'm not even going to be able to touch that for, it looks like, honestly, 6 to 8 months. Well, I get a bunch of stuff worked out with my paid work. And, you know, I've spent just making those 3 episodes, it's 3 months a pop, you know? Wow. So it's been like 9 months of unpaid work to make those 3 episodes. And
that's enough time.
Pretty hard, man.
That's enough time to bake a baby.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I had a kid in between that, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's gotten even harder. And right now the gap filler has honestly been, I really am focusing hard on my YouTube channel for the rough cut productions. It's me. It's just me as a camera personality teaching about cameras and lessons on there. I really enjoy it. I geek out like crazy talking about cameras, and I'm finding some success there. And it's actually got a lot of potential to do open a lot of doors for me for everything, including more music opportunities and interesting collaboration ways. So I'm trying to make a bunch of shit for that right now. So, but that being said, look, let me stay in touch with you about gaps. Talk to me about timelines, and let's see what your budget is and stuff. Let's see what we could try to work out. Because I mean, I had a blast, man. I would love to make you another music video. It's just tricky because each time I get the gap, I've been trying to do cue the Muses stuff, but maybe it could work out. So let's try and make it happen.
Yeah, man, dude, I know all of us would really appreciate it, and we'll try to keep it as simple and as still interesting as we possibly could. If we could swing it, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, totally. I think it's way easier to focus on a performance-based video than ones with story scripted stuff inside of it. It gets more complicated for pre-production and multiple days of filming. But we could just tackle it for a big, heavy night of just performance stuff in a cool location. And then even if it had to work out based on budget and timing, if I had to like work on the editing as I could, and then, you guys end up with it. I want to know your timeline of what you're trying to do marketing-wise. Like, I don't want to like keep you guys in purgatory while I'm trying to finish a video in between gaps.
Well, I mean, we still have like a pretty good bit of time at this point. Like I said, we're trying to work around not only all of our schedules, but around Lee's schedule too, man. Like, so, I mean, I would say if we could book it sometime within the next like 7 to 8 months, that would be awesome.
Okay. No, that's good. That's great. That's a good realistic timeline, because if I know ahead of time that we're looking for something, that also helps. Even if I don't, then we could look more towards like doing it. Even if I don't have a gap, I could actually schedule something. So
I got you.
Well, keep in mind too, if you pick the song that you're wanting to film the music video for, if you have it recorded to a point, say it's not 100% done yet, but if you have it recorded to a point where the time frame of the song, the structure of the song, and everything is what it's going to be, it might not be the final mix. You might add a couple guitar layers or whatever. That is what you need. You could go ahead, film it, book that day, because the filming part, and I'm speaking for Ash a little bit, just from my experience, the filming part is the easier part as far as time consumed on Ash's side. So the 1 day of filming, find that, get it done. Boom, you've got that out of the water. You finish tracking, you finish recording, finish your mixing. Ash can then kind of start what he said earlier, squeeze that in over a period of time. Say maybe instead of giving you a 2-week turnaround, maybe it's over the course of the next 2 months or 3 months that he gets it done, but it still fits into your release schedule for the album.
Yeah, it's a great point, Dick. Yeah. And then we can break up the money that way too, the payments and everything. And the main thing that you want to make sure that's correct in your mix before we'd film is drum fills, guitar solos. Like if there's solos, you want to make sure that you're playing the same solo. And if there is backup vocals or something like that, just making sure that he sings where he sings. If somebody does a yell for like a long duration of time and then that changes later, or if it's a short yell and then later it becomes a long, you just want to have all the parts figured out. But as far as the mix, it could be a dog shit mix to make a music video for, as long as everything's the way that it's going to be executed performance-wise.
I got you.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll work, dude. Yeah, I'll just we would just be really excited to work with you on another project.
Well, it was a blast, man, and it's amazing that Dick came out and helped for free that whole night. Busted our asses.
Hey, if you guys do it again, I'm gonna come help for free again too.
Hell yeah! Okay.
You tell me when. I'll schedule a day off work.
Yeah, we'll help.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll help.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. The band has to come together. We all move shit around together. It's a joint effort to pull it all off. But the end result is, we got to move some stuff. You got to move the microphone.
I don't sing.
Yeah.
It's so much.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Is there going to be Taco Bell?
Probably.
If you bring it, baby.
I'm back in. So back in. Good.
Awesome.
Dancing
Gentlemen.
ladies will bring you Taco Bell at the recording. We have reached the 1 hour and 21 minute mark of episode 59.
It's a record.
Woo
We've
woo.
reached a record. It's a record
Yeah,
time.
reached
Right?
A
Maybe it's one of the
record.
longest.
Yeah, dude. We lasted the longest.
Slap hands.
Slap hands.
Take care, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, man.
Later,
Appreciate
guys.
you guys
Thank
having
y'all.
us, man.
Yeah. And we're out.